ever find yourself daydreaming about changing the past? Like maybe rewriting a little history.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, today's deep dive, it takes us straight into the heart of that what if. We're talking Stephen King's 112263.
Okay.
So get this is our source material. It's a novel, a single epic story about a guy named Jake Epping,
Okay.
and he stumbles upon a way to travel back, get this, to 1958.
Wow.
Yeah, his mission, prevent the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
And trust me, things get wild.
I bet.
So imagine stepping back into a world without smartphones,
Oh, God.
the internet, or even like reliable pizza delivery.
Right.
That's Jake's reality.
Wow.
And King doesn't let us gloss over the details either. He's got Jake with his wad of cash with like presidents he's probably never even heard of,
Right.
trying to figure out payphones, vintage cars, talk about a crash course in culture shock.
Yeah, absolutely. What's fascinating about all that is how King uses those like everyday details to ground the fantastical, Right. It's not just about the grand sweep of history. It's about Jake struggling to blend in, to make sense of this world that's on the brink of change.
Oh, absolutely. And King paints such a vivid picture of 1958, you can practically taste that old-fashioned root beer Jake enjoys.
Uh-huh.
At the Kennebec Fruit Company, feel the creaking floorboards of the time portal itself.
Mm,
Even smell the like industrial pollution hanging in the air.
right.
It's almost like you're right there with him,
Yeah.
navigating this world that's both familiar and strangely alien.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Every step Jake takes, it creates ripples.
Mm.
Not just metaphorical ones either. King, he leans into this idea of the ripple effect,
Mhm.
showing us that even the smallest actions can have massive, unforeseen consequences.
It's a bit like chaos theory with a dash of time travel paradox, thrown in for good measure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all comes to a head with this pivotal event. Jake casually prevents a murder, saving the lives of children.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a heroic act, no doubt, but that single decision, it sends shockwaves through time, altering the future in ways he never could have predicted.
Wow.
Makes you wonder, would you be willing to change the past, knowing you might unleash a chain of unintended, potentially devastating outcomes?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's easy to get swept up in the idea of righting wrongs,
Right.
of playing here. But King, he forces us to confront the thorny reality that even our best intentions, they can have unforeseen and potentially devastating consequences.
Right.
It's a burden Jake carries throughout the book, and one that really makes you question the very nature of heroism.
Absolutely. And speaking of consequences, let's talk about Jake's encounters with a certain Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah. This is where King's exploration of fate versus free will, it really takes center stage.
Right. Jake, he isn't just trying to stop a bullet. He's trying to figure out if Oswald is even like truly capable of pulling the trigger.
Right.
Imagine the intensity Jake's observing Oswald. He's gathering information like a detective,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
piecing together a case where the stakes are literally life or death, except the crime hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah. And it raises so many questions, right?
Right.
Like, is Oswald destined to become an assassin, or does he have a choice? And if Jake changes things, is he like robbing Oswald of his free will, even if it's to prevent something horrific?
Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And there are these like chilling moments like when Jake's friend Al describes encountering Oswald and his wife
Oh
Marie.
yeah, Al, he paints this picture of Oswald as this coiled spring of resentment,
Yeah.
like capable of casual cruelty.
Yeah.
There's this scene where he shoves Marina and she's holding their baby daughter with this unsettling smile on his face. It's disturbing because it's so ordinary, so banal. Yet it hints at a capacity for violence that's truly unsettling.
Talk about unsettling. King, he really knows how to get under your skin, doesn't he?
He does. And he doesn't let us off the hook with like easy answers. It's
Right.
never a simple case of good versus evil. There are all these shades of gray, these moral ambiguities that make the story so compelling.
Right. And as if the whole, time travel, fate versus free will thing wasn't complicated enough, Jake, he starts to build a life for himself in 1958.
Right.
He falls for this woman named Sadie, a librarian, no less.
Oh, of course.
Suddenly, it's not just about saving Kennedy. It's about the people Jake's come to care about in this other time, this life he he might have to leave behind.
Right. Imagine carrying that weight, Knowing that the world you're living in, the people you love, could vanish at any moment. It adds a whole other layer of tension to the story, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, could you walk away from love, from happiness, even knowing it might be saving the world?
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes you question the true responsibility of someone who can alter the course of history.
Mm.
Do they have an obligation to act, even if it means sacrificing their own happiness?
And King, he doesn't shy away from the personal costs of time travel either.
No, he doesn't. As Jake gets closer to November 22nd, 1963, you can feel the weight of his mission like bearing down on him. He's losing sleep, haunted by nightmares, constantly looking over his shoulder.
But he even starts seeing this mysterious yellow card man who seems to represent the past itself, like pushing back against his attempts to change things.
Yeah. The Yellow Card Man is such a brilliant literary device. He embodies this idea that the past isn't passive, that it doesn't want to be tampered with. It's a chilling concept, and it adds this whole other layer of complexity to Jake's already impossible task.
Right. And as the fateful day approaches, Jake, he realizes things. They aren't going according to plan.
Right.
He encounters obstacles, unexpected turns. The tension is almost unbearable.
This is where King's mastery of suspense really shines through. He keeps you guessing until the very last moment.
Yeah.
Will Jake succeed in stopping Oswald? And if he does, at what cost?
Okay, so deep breath, everyone, because we're about to hit you with like a king-size twist.
Yeah.
In his version of 112-263 Kennedy, he survives the assassination attempt.
But as you might expect, it's not a clean victory. It's more like a Pyrrhic victory, where even success, it comes at a cost.
And the cost, in this case, well, the world Jake returns to, it's different. Not drastically different, mind you, but different enough to make him question everything.
Right.
And the really unsettling part is that King, Pete doesn't spell it out for us, is this new timeline better or worse?
Right. It's up to the reader, up to us to grapple with those implications. Did saving Kennedy ultimately make the world a better place, or did it set in motion a chain of events with consequences we can't even begin to fathom?
Talk about food for thought, right?
It is. And here's like another layer for you. The past isn't done with Jake just yet. Remember the yellow card man, that embodiment of time's resistance to change?
Right.
Well, he's not just a figment of Jake's imagination. After preventing the assassination, Jake is like drawn back to 1958. It's like the universe itself is trying to course correct to nudge things back on track.
Yeah, it's like trying to walk upstream against a current that just keeps pushing you back. Exhausting, to say the least.
Exactly. And that's what Jake's dealing with. He tries to like rebuild his life with Sadie, but the past keeps pulling him back towards Dallas, towards that fateful day in November. It's this constant struggle, this awareness that he can't escape the consequences of his actions, no matter how hard he tries.
And what's so brilliant about King's storytelling is that he doesn't offer any easy answers.
Yeah.
He leaves you wrestling with those big questions. What is the price of altering history? And is it ever truly possible to change the past without creating ripples that spread far beyond our control?
Absolutely. And one detail that really stuck with me, after returning to the altered future, Jake, he discovers something truly unsettling. He'd kept a photograph of himself with a young man named Harry Dunning, a man whose life he'd drastically changed.
Don't leave us hanging.
Well, the photograph, it vanishes.
Yeah.
In its place is a photo of his friend Al with a prominent politician.
It's almost as if the past is like trying to erase the evidence of Jake's interference, right? As if it has a will of its own, a way of protecting itself from those who try to rewrite its script.
Precisely. And that's what makes a 11263 more than just a time travel thriller. It's a meditation on memory, on history, on the very nature of cause and effect. It leaves you pondering the power and the peril of tampering with forces beyond our comprehension.
This deep dive into 112263 has been like a wild ride,
Yeah.
through time, history, and the the moral complexities of playing what if with the past. We've explored the intricate concept of the butterfly effect and contemplated whether altering history, even with the noblest of intentions, is truly worth the unforeseen consequences. So if you're looking for a thought-provoking, emotionally charged thriller that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about time and consequence, we highly recommend you take the plunge into 102263 yourself. Trust us, it's a journey you won't soon forget.